When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be confusing. Like Swedish techno confusing.
Bark, bark, meow, meow. Dance with me, purple cow. Bark, bark, meow, meow. Ooh, you lovely cow.
Geico makes it easy. With 24/7 access, all you have to do is go to Geico.com and you could save money on car insurance. It just makes sense. Unlike,
Dance with me, purple cow. I like your moves.
Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to R.E.I.G.N Blog Talk Radio Show with your host and creator, Minister Annie Bell, the founder and executive director of Wealth Management Ministries Incorporated. We are providing talk therapy to survivors of child abuse, sex trafficking, and other traumas. Please enjoy the show. You had it down, afraid to let it out, shackles to change the hurt you feel the same. I'm more than a conqueror, I'm more than a victim. I rise, I win, the chains are broken.
Well, we're here again tonight, Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for meeting me here. My name is Minister Annie Bell, the host and creator of R.E.I.G.N Blog Talk Radio Show, which is an outreach of Wealth Management Ministries, and we are endeavoring to bring talk therapy to survivors of child abuse, sex trafficking, and other traumas, as well as providing awareness and prevention and resources to the community. Our topic tonight is Love Shouldn't Hurt, End Domestic Violence. October is the Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and so we wanted to make sure we took time out to talk about it because, again, that is a trauma. The NCADV, which is a National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, they state that 20 people per minute, and so it's men and women. We don't want to isolate just women because domestic violence is happening to men as well. But 20 people per minute are abused by their intimate partners. Now, that's a pretty high statistic. If we look at safehorizon.org, you'll find that the statistic where women ages 18 to 34 are at the greatest risk of domestic violence. 4 million women experience physical assault and rape by their partners. That's a lot of women going through some trauma. DomesticAbuseShelter.org says that 4,000 women die each year due to domestic violence. 75% of them died during their attempt to leave or after the relationship has actually ended. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. That's not to put any fear into anyone about not leaving. We just want you to be wise and strategic. And we're going to share some things about how to do that so that you can save your life and the life of your children. The hotline.org, one more statistic I want to share. 1 out of 7 are victims of severe physical violence, and that's women. 1 out of 10 men experience rape or severe abuse by their partner. So again, we focus a lot on women simply because the number is greater, but there are men out there who are also going through trauma of domestic violence. I also wanted to kind of shed some light, and this is just to make sure that we are adding, bringing forth a level playing field so that we know when we talk about this, everybody knows what we're talking about. But battered person syndrome, a lot of time it's known as battered women syndrome. This is actually a mental disorder that develops in victims of domestic violence as a result of serious long-term abuse. Now, BPS is dangerous primarily because it can lead to what some scholars say is learned helplessness. They also call it psychological paralysis, but where the victims become so depressed and so defeated and passive that he or she believes they are incapable of leaving the abusive situation. Now, this was, and you can find this information on findlaw.com, but the cycle of BPS begins first when the abuser initiates the attention. An incident, and they blow it out of proportion, and then the abuse is actually committed, whether it is physical, emotional, verbal abuse, and sexual abuse. Because again, rape. If you're not, even if you are married, if you're not consenting, and someone the husband forces themselves on you, or the wife forces themselves on you, then that is called rape. Number 3, the abuser seeks forgiveness. They are asking for forgiveness. They are bringing flowers and gifts, and that's called the honeymoon stage. But with these 3 things within the cycle, it continues over and over again, and the victim begins to self-blame, which develops into learned helplessness. The reason why this learned helplessness is important to understand and realize that is happening is because it puts a person in that state of mind for multi-victimization. So if they don't get out of the mind frame of helplessness, it could, even though they get out of one unhealthy relationship, they could fall right back into another unhealthy relationship. So we wanted to talk about that. Now, tonight I have a very special guest. He is a musical artist under Wavey Entertainment Group. His name is MannChyld. He has released an album, and I'm actually going to allow you to hear some of his songs that he has dedicated through his advocacy to survivors and victims of domestic violence and other abuse. And so I just want to welcome him into the studio. MannChyld, welcome to the studio of R.E.I.G.N.
Hey, R.E.I.G.N. Well, how you guys doing this evening? Miss
Yes,
R.E.I.G.N., how you doing, Annabelle?
I am doing real good. Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking time out your busy schedule out there entertaining the masses, but you came on down for just a moment just to do this show. So I'm honored and just so glad to have you on. Thank you so much.
And I thank you for having me. Abuse is such a quiet topic in our community, and I'm glad that you are setting up a platform for voices to be heard. This is very profound, and it's needed. So I thank you for having me on the show tonight.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Well, let's get started. First, I want to make sure that our audience knows a little bit about you so we can connect. And so tell us a little bit about yourself.
As you said, my name is MannChyld. I've been writing music for about 10, 11 years now. I'm originally from Macon, Georgia, but I grew up in Augusta, and I currently reside in Macon. That's where my family's from. My mom and my dad's from that area. I have a younger sister, 3 brothers. We're a big, close family. I'm a father of 3. I have custody of my son right now. I'm trying to raise him to be a model citizen in a nation that is really giving turmoil to people right now. So, it's important for me to be a family man and to spread that love and to give hope to people as it was given to me coming up. There was a guy that kind of mentored me. His name is Ricky Jones. He was a pastor, and he literally saved me from the streets. And I just had to give him a quick shout right now. And, this is why I do what I do in part because of what he's done for me in my life. So I just want to say I'm trying to carry on that tradition, and I want to instill that into my kids as well. It's important that we stand up and be voices for people that can't stand up and be voices for themselves. And that's why I appreciate my manager, Todd Williams, a.k.a. 6ix9ine and Wavey ENT, because we have a model. It's called where we say we're deeper than rap, and what that means is, we don't only just do music, but we're out in our communities. We're giving back. We're talking to people. We're motivating people. We're his son has an anti-bullying campaign, so our spectrum is way is bigger than us doing music, and we that's our voice, and that's what we plan to do, is to have our voice heard.
Amen. Well, first of all, I want to applaud you because fathers are needed. Okay, dads are needed in the lives of our children, and because that's where they get their validation from. And so, especially our boys, I'm actually going to do a show on other traumas, and fatherlessness is one of them. And so, I just want to thank you and applaud you for what you're doing. I know you spoke a little bit about what inspired you to become an advocate, but I wanted you to go a little bit deeper and tell us what happened that inspired you to become an advocate for the survivors of domestic violence and other abuse.
As a child, I was molested. I have to say I didn't realize what was going on at that time. I was 10 and she was 16. So at my age, coming into manhood or puberty, that's kind of like, wow, she's touching me in inappropriate areas and having me touch her in inappropriate areas, and I'm not thinking like, this isn't right. I'm thinking like, wow, this is pretty cool, but that's a stigmatism that we have in the community with black men. Like, when older women come on us like that, that's abuse, that's molestation, and we have to bring that up. And,
yes.
She was 16, and she had me touch her in places I've never seen, never felt at that time, and it was like, it was weird. But what brought it to my attention was some years back, Tyler Perry did the Oprah Winfrey Show, and he went through everything that he went through, and that showed me that, wow, this wasn't a mutual thing. This was molestation. I was abused, and I want to be able to be a voice. I want to be able to let people know that this is not okay, because it's not.
Amen. Amen. And more specifically, what abuse, have you witnessed, whether it's your own or, I know that you said you were abused, but what other abuse have you witnessed?
My mom, she was raped when we were kids, and we were in the house, and we were unaware at that time that it happened. But as older, she told us about it, and it hurt that we were there and didn't do anything about it and couldn't do anything about it. So it's important for me now at this age, now that I'm a strong black man, to be a voice. And I have friends that's been abused, and we've gotten them out of situations, and it's really a sickening issue to see somebody go through that. And a lot of people will call them weak, and a lot of people will ridicule those people for staying in situations like that. But you touched on it earlier. You touched on emotional and mental abuse. When somebody is taking that away from you, your mental toughness, your emotional toughness, when somebody's taking that away from you, they stripped you from your friends and your family. They strip you from all your financial gain, and they put you in a situation where you have only them to rely on. It's hard to get out of that hole, and people need to be more aware. They need to be more sensitive to that, because the more that you're only adding to the problem when you're ridiculing and you're telling them that this is what you need to do, and instead of telling them what they need to do, help them. And I think it's more important that we be more sensitive to that subject.
Yes. And you said that you didn't know that she was being raped. Was it a family member or someone she knew that raped her?
It was actually a friend of the family, and he would come and, pick me and my brother up and try to talk to us, or, hang out with us, things like that. So now that I see it, I know that he was interested in her, but she wasn't interested in him. And I just think he took those feelings too far, and it's a tough thing to talk about and deal with, knowing that you couldn't be your mom's savior at that time.
And what else is, and this is very I think apropos, because here we have in the with the presidential election, and you hear about this particular candidate who is talking about sexual assault as if he was just talking about, passing some plate of biscuits around. And we have to be the voice. Someone has to draw the standard and say that is not appropriate. I don't care how much money you have or how much clout you have, how many hotels you own, that is inappropriate behavior. And more people need to understand when someone says no, that's what it means. It doesn't mean no and yes, you can. It means no, don't do it. So I think that is wonderful. I'm going to actually play one of your songs, and the first one is Angie. Could you give us a little bit of background about the song before I play it for our audience?
Sure. In my younger days, I frequented the strip clubs. I'm not perfect, but that was one of the things that I enjoyed doing. And not only did I go for the entertainment, I actually went and I've had conversations with strippers or dancers or whatever you would like to call them, and a lot of them are really good people that are forced into that situation or forced into that lifestyle. And once they're forced into the lifestyle, it's hard for them to get out. And Angie kind of came from my experience with different ladies in that profession. And what I saw was a lot of mental abuse, a lot of physical abuse. What I saw was a lot of emotional abuse, whether it was from their dad not being there, their uncle or brother molesting them. Like, it was just, a plethora of issues that was going on with each individual lady. So I wrote Angie to be a voice for them. I wrote Angie to be a voice for mental abuse. I wrote Angie to be a voice for physical abuse, because in our community, as I stated earlier, it's one of those things we sweep under the rug, and I think it's time that we stop sweeping it and clean the mess up.
Amen. I love that, what you're saying, and I love the fact that you're able to say, hey, at the time, not knowing that going to the strip clubs and what it really entailed and what you were participating in without knowing, you're thinking you're just going to go hear some music and see some skin, but really what you realized was there was some trafficking going on. There was, forced,
exactly.
I want to say, they were being forced into that, prostituted, and a lot of them are prostituted. They don't just strip, but there's more that goes on behind the scenes. And then to hear further, each one has a story to tell. Each one has a uncle or a dad or a neighbor who, did something, who violated them. Many of the population in the adult entertainment industry is that way. So I, again, applaud you for being the male voice who stands up and say this is wrong. So everybody, I'm getting ready to play Angie from MannChyld. Enjoy it for this evening. It is also available for you to purchase. So when we come back, MannChyld is going to share with you where you can actually purchase it. One moment, and you'll hear the song.
Looked her in the eye, she said the love was gone. She wouldn't let me touch her or say what's wrong. She really had issues with trusting a man, cause her daddy had issues with restraining his hand. Plus her first love used to beat her, and every nigga after that used to mistreat her. I tried to show Angie that my love was different, but she could not see. She was blinded by pain and so much misery. Now the ghost of her past was affecting me too. Why you couldn't see that I loved you? And though I pray you on a peaceful journey, just know you left me here to carry all your pain. I miss you, Angie. This life without you kinda crazy. This life without you got me more than a one-night stand. She wanted me to be her man. Damn. This life without you kinda crazy. This life without you got me crazy. Can't live this life without my baby. I just want my baby back. I just want my baby back. I just want my baby back, 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 back. I just want my baby back. I just want my baby back. I just want my baby back, back. I just want my baby back. I just want my baby back. I think about her every day. She was my queen, my better half. She was my life, my wife, my dream. The evil that men do scars forever. I know you in a better place, cause even in your dreams you couldn't escape. All the hurt is hate. It was already too late. I couldn't save you. But Angie, baby, smile on me and your son. I'll always see you when the morning comes. 214 was your Independence Day. Guess you couldn't take it no more. Now you're knocking on heaven's door. Now it's my burden to carry the sins that they did. Damn. This life without you kinda crazy. This life without you got me crazy. Can't live this life without my baby. I just want my baby back. I just want my baby back. I just want my baby back, 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 back. I just want my baby back. I just want my baby back. I just want my baby back, back. I just want my baby back. I just want my baby back.
Welcome back to R.E.I.G.N Blog Talk Radio Show with your host, Minister Annie Bear.
Thank you for hanging in there with me. I hope you enjoyed the song that you heard. If you're just tuning in, we have MannChyld in the studio. Welcome back to R.E.I.G.N Blog Talk Radio Show. We're just playing a few of his songs that he has dedicated for his advocacy towards victims and survivors of domestic violence and other abuse. MannChyld, just want to welcome you back into the studio.
Hey there, Annabelle.
Hey, thank you so much. Okay, that, first of all, that's a smooth song. I love the melody, but your words are very profound. I mean, I could actually feel the depth of his love for Angie. And so thank you for writing that song.
No problem. That's the extent of my writing. When it comes to having a message and making sure that it's felt, I try my best to in my music, because it shouldn't be sugarcoated. And let me apologize for some of the language, but at the same time, I don't think it should be sugarcoated. When you have a message, sometimes you have to give it to people raw.
Yes. And that's, and this is, PG-13, so it wasn't that bad. But like you said, sometimes we have to give it the way it is. And so I appreciate that. I want to have some dialogue on what some of the things that a person can do to get out of a domestic abuse situation for those who might be in it now.
Okay, the first thing they need to do is pray, of course. I'm a firm believer in praying. I'm a firm believer in going to church, but I'm also a firm believer in faith without works is dead. So if you're just praying and you're praying and you're waiting, you have to take steps. And certain steps those steps that you have to take, one is after you're done praying, go out and find somebody to talk to. If it's a counselor, a psychiatrist, a pastor, a friend, find somebody to talk to, and not anyone negative, because most people that are negative won't be of any help to you. You have to be able to find somebody to talk to that can help you pull yourself out of that situation, because the biggest thing is having the mental capacity to do it. A lot of people, they're so mentally broke down that they feel like they can't go on without life, because, as I stated earlier, they take, a lot of abusers take so much away from you. They take your mental, they take your friends and family, they take your financial, and then you have no choice but to lean on them. You have to get yourself out of that situation by slowly, surely getting those things back, building your confidence, being mentally strong, being emotionally strong, and even being physically strong. Because there's sometimes you're going to have to fight, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can go to your police. You can go to your police and start filing reports. Those things like that will help. If you have to go to court, if you have any cases, start filling out police reports. Even if they're not called, you can go to the station yourself. You have to find avenues of resources, and there's so many out there. Your churches, there's groups online. You said one earlier, the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. They have an awesome website. And if you're in your local area, you can go. They have victim hotlines. They have women's shelters. They have abuse shelters. There's a million things that you can do, and those are just small things. You need to find groups on Facebook. There's a lot of groups on Facebook that'll help you. There's a local organization here called Families of Victory. You had Miss Shannon on your show a couple weeks ago. She talked about some things. That's a great organization here in my area, and they do things for domestic violence victims. So there's things that you can do. The biggest thing, like I said, is pray. Please, people, do not think that God is not hearing your cry. He is, but He's setting you up for something great. And don't be afraid to take those steps forward. That's what faith is.
No, it's very good pointers. I like the fact that first you said pray, because that is something that we must do first to get our strategic plan. It's also very important that you have to know, if you're in this situation, whoever is out there listening, if he hits you once, more than likely he'll hit you again. And I talked about that cycle earlier today. He's going to apologize, or he or she going to apologize and bring you flowers and just be the most loving person that you fell in love with in the first place. But then another trigger could just set that person off. And and then you're back into that cycle again. And before you get into the position of it becoming a mental disorder, before it pushes you into battered person syndrome, you're going to have to, assess it and be strategic to get out. I am going to put on our Facebook page, our Facebook handle is R.E.I.G.N, Stop Abuse and Abolish Sex Trafficking. But I'm going to put down a little safety planning. But some of the things that you can do is actually you need to plan for it. You don't want to, if you have to run for your life with nothing but the clothes on your back, do it. But if there is an opportunity for you to take a step back, take a minute, and make a strategic plan, I have the safety planning guide up on our Facebook page, so you can do it. There's a planning guide if you are with child, okay, if you're pregnant. There's a safety planning guide if you have children. And there's also a guide to help you even if you have pets. We don't want to leave our pets behind because they are part of our family. And so there's also a way to plan it so that so you don't jar your emotional stability. So there's ways to do it, and there are definitely organizations out here who will help you. The other question that I have, and I think this is good, especially for people who are dating, okay? You're not actually in a marriage yet or a relationship yet, but you're dating. What are some of the signs that a potential mate that you're considering could be an abuser?
Definitely sign number one should be if he's extremely possessive. If every time you turn around, he's pulling you away from friends and telling you, why you always going out, or why such and such is always calling you. Those are things you want to look for, because the abuse doesn't happen initially. A lot of abusers, they try to act like they're strong, but they're really weak. And the way you can tell is if they pull you away from friends and family, because they're not going to do that in front of them. So a lot of times you have to look for those signs, like trying to prevent you from going to work, always taking your car, trying to keep you at home, wanting to know where you go every minute of the day, every hour. Those are the things that you want to look for initially when you meet someone. If they're a little aggressive physically when you guys hang out, like if he grabs your arm a little aggressively and won't let go, those are small things that eventually progress, and those are the things that you need to start looking out for at first, because we laugh and play with other people all the time, so it makes it seem like that's nothing, but it's obviously it's more than what we want to give it, and we have to be cognizant of what people are doing to you, what they're saying to you, and if they're mentally degrading, those start off small too, like they might say they might have on a dress, and he might make a little joke about how you look in the dress. He's starting to break you down mentally, and once the mental breakdown is there, the physical begins, because he knows you're not going to fight back because you're already mentally drained. So those are the things that you want to look for.
Very good, very good. The other thing, like you said, I think that we as women fall prey to this a little bit more than the men, but when the man acts a little jealous, sometimes we want our men to be a little jealous. I mean, we don't want him to not care if somebody's staring us down or trying to, step to us, right? But if there is something when they're overly jealous, if you're at McDonald's and the guy hands you your order of, McNuggets, and your potential mate is staring at you like, oh, what, you like him? Okay, that's a sign that he's a little bit off. Okay,
Definitely
and it's not flattery. It's not flattery. So that should pique your thoughts a little bit and say, okay, that's a mental cue for you. Setting boundaries at an early time in the relationship is very important. I'm gonna tell you, my husband and I, we laugh and joke about it, but I'm serious. When we first started dating, I put my hand up and I said, there are 5 things that will get you for me to kick you to the curb. 1, don't ever hit me. You hit me one time and that is it, And I said, don't play with my money, don't play with my kids, And I put my boundaries down because I'm like, I don't want to have to tell you again, and I'm not going to sit there and keep warning you, because if you can't, accept my boundaries, you need to get to stepping before we even get our hearts all up in it, And so, and this is for, women and men out there, that you got to kind of set your boundaries. What are you not going to take? Also, there's space. A healthy relationship gives each other space to be their own person, some free time alone. I am an introvert, meaning I need time by myself. I'm fine doing radio shows, networking, getting out there, getting my hustle on, getting my grind on. But at the end of the night, I need me some Annie time. And so if that person is not able to give that to you because, again, they're insecure, then that's another sign. Another sign that I want to share with you is intimacy. Just because, and if y'all are getting it on before y'all are married, we're not condoning that. But I know there are people out there who are. So if y'all are married even, or if y'all are dating and you don't want to have sex, you can say no. And if they still push up on you and make you feel obligated and or even take it from you, then that is a huge sign that you shouldn't progress in that relationship. If you tell them, hey, I need you to respect me, and when I am not in the mood, don't push up on me, they have to respect that. So something to keep in mind. The last thing is that I wanted to bring up is mutual respect for privacy. Now, once you're married, I know there's a lot of things that, you're melded together, you're one flesh, but still there is some area of individuality and privacy. Even I trust my husband 100%. And if if he's on the phone, or I don't go through his texts and emails and stuff, I give him some space. If he's talking to someone on the phone, I give him some space, and he does the same for me. He doesn't read my texts and stuff like that. Now, if you're dating someone who is doing that, okay, again, this part I know females are more prone to do, but if they don't give you your space and your privacy, that is yet another sign that you might want to slow things down just a little bit and take a bit more inventory. Yep. This goes out for the high schoolers too, and middle schoolers. Hopefully y'all aren't dating, but if you are, because a lot of this abuse, this intimate partner abuse, is going on with our preteens and teens. And so this is your cue here and clue that if they're doing that, it's not a good road to be on. So these are things that you want to talk about and express, and don't be scared to express it. I want to go ahead and play the next song by MannChyld, and if you could, give us a little background on the next song. Face Off, is it?
Yes. I wrote Face Off I wrote it as a prequel to Angie, and what it is I wrote it so people can get her point of view and her father's point of view of the first time he ever attacked her. And it's raw and it's vivid, but it brings home the point. And just check it out. And it's a very deep song, and I wrote it for that reason, because I think a lot of people kind of overlook that part of it all, as far as like going in depth of the situation. They kind of like looked on the outside, but we're actually going to go in depth of the first time he ever assaulted his daughter.
All right. Face Off, everybody.
There's a grief that can't be spoken. I'm ashamed. There's a pain goes on and on. Empty chairs at empty tables. Now my friends are dead and gone.
Sin is the way to perfection. Sin is the way to live.
I gotta go to school. I gotta go to school. Empty chairs at empty tables. I gotta go. Now my friends are dead and gone. What you doing? Empty chairs at empty tables. Now my friends are dead and gone.
Knew when her mama died, she knew she had nobody else. Thought it was weird to her, he asked her if she touched herself. She looked at them and bitch, that nigga must have lost his mind. Her heart was racing, just hoping that he was passing time. If she could turn into a bird, then she would fly away. She asked him what was up, cause she had to go to school today. He steps forward, she steps back. He lunges at her and she fights back. She's kicking and screaming, but he imposes his will. She got loose from his arm and punched her straight in the grill. She still kicking and screaming, she made a break for the door. He grabbed the tuck of her hair and slammed her head to the floor.
Empty chairs at empty tables. Now my friends are dead and gone. Empty chairs at empty tables. Now my friends are dead.
Knew when her mama died, he knew she had nobody else. Didn't see an issue to ask her if she ever touched herself. He wondered why she's looking at him like he lost his mind. He wanted to touch his daughter to help him pass the time. He's looking at his bird like if she wants to fly away. Don't worry about it, cause you won't make it to school today. He steps forward, then gets mad cause she's stepping back. He lunges at her, can't believe his daughter's fighting back. He knows he's stronger, so he laughs and imposes his will. The game changer, she snuck him and socked him in the grill. Where you going as she tries to exit out the door? He grabs her by her hair and slams her on the floor.
Empty chairs at empty tables. Now my friends are dead. Empty Now my friends are dead.
Well, she lived in a house that was always Alabama. Her mama had gone up to heaven when she was 5, and her daddy he was a very loving man. He was always kissing and touching her and her and her.
Make me a bird so I can fly far, far, far away from here. Dear God, make me a bird so I can fly far.
It's sad how the ones closest to you hurt you the most. Angie was a bird free, now her soul is caged and comatose. Writing in her book a life of strife with sadness on every page. Her ink is pain and the paper is rage. She vowed not to let another man close, and that decision in the end, more than him, is the one that hurt her the most. Fly, Angie. Fly, 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 fly.
Empty chairs at empty tables. Now my friends are dead.
I'm ashamed.
Sin is the way to perfection. Sin is the way to death.
Empty chairs at empty tables. Now my friends are dead.
I'll get you. I'll get you.
Welcome back to R.E.I.G.N Blog Talk Radio Show with your host, Minister Annie Bell.
Whew, welcome back. That was an intense song that we just played from MannChyld, who is called Face Off, and he is a advocate for the prevention and the ending of domestic violence and abuse. And I am Minister Annie Bell, and you are listening to R.E.I.G.N Blog Talk Radio Show. Now, I don't know about anyone else who's listening, but that was a trigger for me. So I do want to issue a trigger warning for the survivors. If that was a trigger for you, first of all, you can reach out to me or my team on Facebook. You can message me. Also, you can join us for prayer on Thursday nights at 9:30. We have intercessory prayer at 9:30 every Thursday. The number is 530-881-1212. Access code is 225-184-078. If you missed that, that's okay. Just look on the screen. You should see a slideshow, and one of those slides is our intercessory group number and the time that we pray. All right, MannChyld, that was pretty intense. You know, it almost, if you close your eyes, it's almost like a movie about about Angie and her first violation.
Yes, and that's the picture I wanted to paint. I mean, you know, and it is a trigger for some people, and I do apologize if I triggered anything, but I think we need to make it aware. People have to see it from the point of views of the victim, and the only way we can do it is to open it up like that. You know, we can watch movies all day long, but sometimes we're programmed to kind of like look at the movies and there's nothing, but when you hear the song or when you hear music and you close your eyes, that visualization, it really triggers a lot in people. And, you know, that's what I want to do. I want to provoke change, and the only way to do that is to give it to them raw.
Yes. Well, yeah, that was pretty raw. And the sad thing is it's real. It's what's going on in our society every day. You know, sometimes I'll sit back and I'm just having a good time with my family, whatever it is. Like the other day when we went to the fall festival and my children were just having a good time. And for a moment, you know, I got sad in my spirit because I knew that while my children are having a good time, there's somebody, and that's more than one, who might be in the midst of their misery, in the midst of their abuse. You know, I often remember when I was being abused, and I could hear the children in the playground because our house was kind of catty corner to the playground, and I can hear the kids playing, and I was wondering, can they hear me crying? Can they hear my sadness? Can they Can they see what's going on with me? So it's like the juxtaposition of, almost like a parallel universe. You have one person who is going through hell while the other one may be in heaven, just living their life and having a great time. So I'm always very conscientious of that, and that keeps me going, continues to have me fight this war on child abuse and sex trafficking and other traumas. So I just want to thank you for that song, and being so present to be able to write something like that, and it be so, like I said, profound. I want to share if there was any hotlines, helplines, and other resources that you know of. I know you mentioned a few earlier, but others that you might want to share that victims and survivors can go to.
Yes, ma'am. You've mentioned a couple of them too, but I might mention them again. There's the National Center on Domestic Violence. There's National Children Advocacy Center, Child Help, CrimeVictims.gov. Those websites are great resources for you guys out there to use to get numbers for local areas. And if you don't have anything in your local areas, they can give you the closest area, and they all have help. They all have ways to help you and resources and things that they can do to get you out of those situations and steps. And Annabelle talked about what she had and what she uses on her website and on her pages, and all those are great resources. I also have a Angie support group on Facebook that I just started. It's small right now, but we have people in place that can help. My friend of mine, she's worked at a domestic hotline. She has resources. I have a pastor on there. I have survivor victims, and we all get up and we talk, and those are outlets for you guys. Just please, if you hear this and you feel or know that you're in that situation, get help before it's too late, because people like that only escalate. They never digress. They always escalate, and it gets worse and worse. And if they don't want to seek help on their own, then they don't want to help you. And just please go get help. I implore that you guys go out and seek some type of help.
Yes. And I ditto that. Please get help. Your life is worth it. I may not have ever met you, never seen you before, but I know the fact that you are created, that God created you, and you are on this earth, you are important. And so if you hadn't never heard it from anyone else, you're hearing it from me, that you are important and you are worth saving. Amen. Now, there is also the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and that's 1-800-799-7233. Again, that's 1-800-799-7233. They do have a TTY number for those who may not be able to hear or see or hear more. It's 1-800-787-3224, so that you could use your technology to communicate. Also, there is the www. womenslaw.org. Now, other thing that I want to caution you is, if you are planning to get out of that relationship or just seeking some information, I would ask you to go and look up any of these websites from like the library or your friend's computer. Be very careful when you're using your own computer, because your abuser could find it, because it's very hard to erase the history on your computer. So be very careful so that you can be very strategic. One of my favorite movies of conquering is Sleeping with the Enemy. She really took the time to be very strategic. She ended up making one mistake, but she was very strategic in how she got out of her domestic violence relationship. And so, you know, keeping that in mind is what we're trying to do to help to get you out. Now, we only have a few more minutes, and I want to make sure I get the time in to play this last song. MannChyld, could you give us some background on this last song, Burnt Offerings?
Burnt Offering is the final chapter to the Angie trilogy. What I did was I wrote an open letter to her, just letting her know I missed her, letting her know her son was okay, and you know it kind of brings it all together because some of my friends had questions that was left unanswered. So this answers the rest of the questions of the Angie saga. So you guys check it out and I hope you enjoy it.
All right, Burnt Offerings by MannChyld.
When will those clouds all disappear?
This what it's so cold.
Where will it lead us from here?
This what it's so cold.
Sin is the way to perfection. Sin is the way to
Welcome back to R.E.I.G.N Blog Talk Radio Show with your host, Minister Annie Bell.
Good evening. You are listening to R.E.I.G.N Blog Talk Radio Show. Welcome back. My name is Minister Annie Bell. I wanted to also make an announcement. Of course, I know that, again, this could be a trigger for some. And I wanted to also urge that just because you escaped doesn't mean that that's the end of your journey. You have to take time to heal from the pains of your past. And so I urge you to get some therapy. I also have a book out there called R.E.I.G.N, A Survivor's Guide to Thrive. The workbook is finally finished, yay. So the book that goes along with it is will also be available in the next couple of weeks. And so get the book. Begin your healing journey so that you don't repeat the cycle and don't pass it on to your children. We have to make sure that we break this cycle of abuse and trauma. Now, with me tonight here in the studio is MannChyld. And you just heard his song. We played the trilogy during the program tonight. And MannChyld, again, the songs, they're so creatively produced and executed. So it's not just a song. I mean, like you said, it's a story, and it says so much. And again, I just want to applaud you for the creativity that you brought forth.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I got to give some of that credit to my producer, Sinister Sound. He produced all the beats and recorded all my sessions in the studio. So I got to give him some of that credit also.
Okay, well that's very kind to share the credit. That's good. Now we got about a minute. Can you share with me some of the things you're doing in the community, in the next near future, and how people can get in touch with you and also purchase your album?
Yes, we on Wavey ENT, we're always in the community. We just handed out toys to the children's home. We just fed the homeless. We are currently getting ready to do our annual toy drive, what we've been doing for the past 4 years. We get donations and we just go to a random neighborhood and knock on doors and give toys to kids. As I said, our motto is being deeper than rap. We give back all the time because you never know when you're going to need that back, And the community is always behind what we do. We have new artists coming out and they're dropping music. So, we're deep and we're running and we're grinding. And shout out to Sweets and Elvis and G-Way, Betty, Junior, 6ix9ine and the whole Wavy family. We love y'all, Christy. And you can catch me anywhere on iTunes, Google Play. Like I said, the music's out there. I spell my name MannChyld, and you can search me. I'm there on Facebook. It's Sir MannChyld. On Twitter, it's MannChyld47. Instagram, MannChyld47. I'm out there. You guys hit me up. Let's talk about getting off this horse of abuse. Let's bring it out in the open. Let's not be afraid to talk about it in our community. And also, Angie Support Group is spelled just like the Angie Support Group. It's on Facebook.
All right. Thank you again, MannChyld. I appreciate you coming on the show. Everybody remember, love should not hurt. Love yourself enough to save your own life. To make donations or get in touch with me or my team, go to www.mngt.org or even AnnieBellMinistries.com. On Facebook, R.E.I.G.N, Stop Abuse and Abolish Sex Trafficking. If we endure, we will reign with Christ. See you next Tuesday at 8 o'clock.